Beetje vaag weer buiten, maar als je zomaar naar Parijs toe gaat. En dat ga ik ook doen. Ik ga namens MMOZone.nl naar Parijs. Dus ik ben in Utrecht op weg naar het Centraal Station om naar Amsterdam te gaan. En dan vertrekken met de Thalys richting Paris. Hotel du Louvre. Ik ben heel benieuwd. Ik ga daar Warhammer online checken namens MMOZone.nl en ja, kom maar op. Nou, na een nachtje stappen met de Belgen en de andere Hollanders gaan we vandaag zeker te weten eventjes die perspresentaties checken en zo. Ik ben heel erg benieuwd wat het gaat worden. Ik ben aardig brak, maar dat komt ook wel heel goed.
All MMOs have a lot of things that you would expect. The things that every MMO has.
Muscular heroes.
Muscular heroes.
Buxom lasses. Sorry.
Huge, great community. Lots of loot. Lots of adventures to go on.
Shiny
wonderful
hats.
quests. Shiny crowns.
Shiny hats.
Shiny hats.
Like
yeah.
that hat.
We of course have everything that you would expect from an MMO. But that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you guys about all of the things that make us unique. The things that we do that other people don't do like we do. The things that we do so great. Things like public quests. Things like realm versus realm warfare. Keep sieges. The Tome of Knowledge. Our living city system. All of these things are so fantastic, and I'm so excited to share them with you guys today.
And it's got a name, as we mentioned before. If we said it, your eyeballs would boil out of your skull and your head would fall off, and you'd all turn into bunny rabbits.
So we'll just call it the Inevitable
So we'll call it
City.
the Inevitable City because it's easier to pronounce. And all of the things that you would find in Altdorf, you find in a sort of corrupt and weird way in the Inevitable City.
Right.
So we're just going to run through some of those really quickly to show you the parallels. So again, we showed you the city square in Altdorf. Here's a city square in the Inevitable City. First of all, you obviously have the giant chaos warp in the background that's sort of pulsating and so forth. You've got huge monolithic towers of energy that are shooting up crazy zombies wandering up and down the stairs. And whereas you might go to an apple cart vendor in Altdorf, you might go to a guy that's got a dude chained to a table, and he's like, "You need some food? Have a piece of Bob here. He's delicious." Tea for teen. And so, as you move through all of the things you would find in Altdorf, you find in the Inevitable City in a twisted sort of way. So, for example, if we had the Imperial Palace in Altdorf, you'll have Charzanic's Tower.
How do you say that again?
Charzanic.
Say it again.
Charzanic.
Good.
The apostrophe is important. And again, Charzanic is a chaos champion. The chaos god that we focus on in our game is Tzeentch, the Lord of Change, but his sort of manifest representative on the ground is Charzanic. So that's an imperial, a huge chaos champion that you get to eventually quest on behalf of as a member of Destruction, or fight your way into the Inevitable City, fight and kill as a member of Order.
Awesome.
So that's his crazy tower in the background. Oh, I love this shot. Can we just sit in silence?
That's pretty cool.
Stare at the pretty stuff. Okay. Moving on. The Pit is one of the sort of unique locations within the Inevitable City, where really the forces of chaos are barely controlled at any time. So we've kind of built a thing in here where, as a member of the Faction of Destruction, you can just kind of roll down into the pit and challenge some of your brethren to a fight. You can just pick a fight with the Beastman, punch him in the face a few times, stab him in the gut, go down with other players and fight them, things of that sort. That also makes this an extremely dangerous thing that's just sitting in the middle of the city, because it should be dangerous. You should be able to fall off the side and explode, and you should be able to come down here and have a Beastman eat your face, and things of that sort. There's Chaos Giants just sort of sitting around.
And what about as an invader?
As an invader, you also have a giant pit full of Beastmen and Chaos Giants and exploding faces and terrible things. So there are, interesting, cool, random things that show up in the Inevitable City. And again, facilities. It's a very boring word for a very important thing for an MMO. We have to offer you all the same basic things that you've got in Altdorf: banks, auction houses, vendors, stuff like that. But we want to do it in a way that sort of is evocative and chaotic. So this is what a Chaos Bank looks like. Now, this is an in-process version of this. The eventual version is going to have crazy souls flying up out of the ground. It's the voice of a soul. I'm playing all of the souls in the game. And so this is sort of a Chaos Bank, which is a cool enough place to visit, but you really want to go to the auction hall. The auction hall is this crazy sort of like barbecue pit gone terribly wrong. It's a little bit like this, where you've got spikes everywhere and holes to fall down into and piles of things that are burning that have faces. There are tables along the side that Jeff made me cut out the close-up shot of because the placemats are human faces. Things like that. So, again, the idea here is we offer you all the things that you would normally find in a city, but in a really sort of unique and interesting way.
Right.
And again, you'll have the ability to have player monuments. In this particular case, we wanted to show you what initially the monuments aren't there. You have to actually earn the right to build the monuments. Then you have to distinguish yourself and have a monument built to you. One of the other interesting things that we've got in here, as I mentioned previously, Tzeentch is the chaos god that we focused on the most,
right.
But you never get away from the other three dark gods. So within the Inevitable City,
this is my favorite.
There are wings of the city dedicated to the other chaos gods. Now this one's kind of bulbous and phallic, and there are statues of ladies touching each other, things of that sort.
It is a PvP system, but it's so much more than that. So many games give you the ability to pick up a sword, run at Josh, and hit him over the head until he dies.
Which is the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do. But that's PvP. It's all about what I want for myself. RVR is so much more than that. Foundationally, it uses PvP, but it encompasses your entire realm. Thousands upon thousands of people, allies for you to fight with, and people for you to fight against. A built-in enemy on the other side, the bad guys.
It's like the World Cup.
Okay.
You put paint on your face, you go out with 1,000 people, you punch 1,000 other people. There's a game involved somewhere in there. But it's really about hating everyone else, loving your friends,
that's good,
getting
Josh.
drunk, and
Thanks.
Sorry.
So
we're in Europe, Jeff. They love soccer. Football.
Okay, football.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So the thing that's important to understand about RVR is that it's not about you. It's about your realm. It's about fighting for what you want and what you have, taking away from your enemy and making it your own. It's about realm pride. It's about standing up in the Wa, in the Greenskin Wa, and fighting for everything that you hold dear. We really feel strongly that guilds can be so much more than just a chat channel. They can be living, breathing entities, things that progress through the game as you progress through the game. So you want to walk through this real quick?
So one of the things that we've been touching on as we've been talking about the game is that our game is not simply a solitary experience. It's not just you versus the world. It's involving two major components, cooperation and competition. The games that you play as a child out on the playground, soccer, tag, things of that sort, you're playing against other people, playing board games, card games. These are all things that are social and competitive. PC games, traditionally, are far more solitary. MMOs brought back that social component. We're trying to push it to the next level. So what we've got is what we call the living guilds. And what that literally means, as Jeff said, I'm stepping on things, is over time, as your guild levels up, you get access to more and more things. Things like a guild heraldry. which is more than just a pretty little flag to run around with and hang on your wall. The guild heraldry actually eventually becomes a banner in the world, a thing that you can attach tactics to, that gives you the opportunity to improve the performance of your guild out in the world, in PvE, in RVR. In RVR, you can take over a keep, you can hang your heraldry from the side of it, you can claim that keep as your own. This is something that your guild has done. It's a braggable thing. It's an exciting thing. And the guilds give you the opportunity to basically join an ever-continuous additional part of advancement in the world. And again, as Jeff said, traditionally you just kind of get a chat channel. We're building in tools that make it easy for players that run guilds to really engage their players without having to spend 10 hours a day running a forum, doing 6 other things outside of the game. We want you in the game, we want you playing. So we give you the ability to have a calendar that allows you to schedule events that says 20 people needed for this event on Friday, sign up, you can go through, you know who it is. We automate things like what's going on with your guild from day to day. We have a news thing that runs like an RSS filter that tells you every major event that happens for your guild. We want it to be a fast, easy tool that's extremely powerful and very robust.
Yeah, I think the thing, let me underline this from what Josh is saying, it's ease of use that's important. Running guilds, and I'm sure that some of you have done this in an MMO, can be very, very difficult.
A full-time job.
Super time-consuming, especially as your guild gets more and more involved in the game. We want to streamline that process. We want to make it easy for those guild leaders, give them the tools that they need to run their guild in-game, so they don't have to spend all of their time beating their head against the wall, trying to contact people for events, and doing all of the things that you do as a guild leader.
Because we want you in the war, killing people.
Absolutely.
Screen, we've got custom characters set up. Notice there are little more characters there. Please select these are and get them to show features in the game. Thanks very much.
That's a good example to show you the way that you progress. And as you go in through the tiers, it gives more rewards towards the overall battle that goes on. And then up here you have the capital cities. And so once you finish this stage, there's almost all RVR content, and you're really battling for the big prize, the capital cities.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
But along the way, obviously, each part that you go through here influences it as well.
Yeah, the next one,
except in different ways. And that's the sort of general progression path for the sort of learning and so on in the background. So obviously, from here, tier 1 is normally around level 10 roughly at the moment. So level 40 would be the cap at the moment. Somewhere around level 10, maybe level 12 would be the normal requirement for tier 1. And then as you go to tier 2, it's normally level 12 to about 20, maybe a little higher. And then as it goes higher, it gets more difficult and you need more XP and so on and so on.
Okay. Nice.
Emperor's Palace.
Cool.
So you can actually run around the whole palace. You can
Wow.
go up and meet the Emperor and say hello. I did it a few days ago, so it's quite cool.
Okay, cool.
You have to run up all the stairs and through all the buildings and past the guards, but it's quite good.
Okay. It's like a 5-minute walk or so. Or more.
Probably, yeah. You've got servants everywhere. You've got guys trying to catch rats.
Okay.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
You can see this building up everywhere.
Okay, amazing. Wow. It's like really big.
That's what makes it the capital. The huge buildings and everything.
Yeah.
You can go through this door.
Okay.
All the fires lit and banners. And then we're inside the Royal Palace now,
Oh, wow.
with all the
Oh,
windows,
yeah. Nice.
carpets, floors. And up here then is the main hall.
Okay.
Up here you have the
The Emperor.
You have the Emperor, and
Wow.
you can talk to him and he'll give you a quest.
Cool. It's really quite a big hall.
So that's Emperor Karl Franz, the big High
The
Lord.
big one, yeah.
And then you have a councillor, you have general.
Okay.
You can run around a bit more. You can actually you can go out the door here
Okay.
and into the yard.
Oh, wow.
So it's like for ceremonies, I guess.
Yeah.
And you see all that.
So to start off, just with the big question from lots of our people from the community, what is Warhammer Online going to make? How is it going to be different from games like World of Warcraft or Age of Conan, which are also coming this year with the expansion for World of Warcraft? How are you going to win?
How much time do we have?
Well, I think 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll go fast. RVR is fundamentally the thing that we really look to as the core of our game. It's something that we developed 7.5 years ago with Dark Age of Camelot. It's something that has proven successful and enjoyable with players. It's something that we understand on sort of a genetic level. It's the thing that we're committed to as a game developer. And one of the reasons behind that is we're trying to make a game that really sort of harkens back to the types of games that people have loved for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Games that are social, games that are competitive, games that bring people together to work cooperatively towards a competitive task. So if you think of all the types of things that you do, when you're a child, you play games on the playground, you play sports, you play board games, card games, all those types of things. They're two things, social and they're competitive. PC gaming, for various reasons, became sort of solitary, independent, non-cooperative, and it's really just sort of you against the game.
Yeah.
And while there's certainly a place for that, we really believe that the most fun you can have is that sort of natural human style of gaming, where you're with other people, you're interacting, you're socializing, and it's a full sort of hobby experience rather than...
Hobby. That's a good way of putting it. This isn't just buy this game for $30 and then play through it for 100 hours or whatever it happens to be. It's, going to be compelling, interesting, cool, wonderful for years. And that's the ethos that we're coming from. This is about hobby. It's not about, checking the game out the door and taking a quick buck.
And so RVR game is the core of that. We have lots of other things: the Tome of Knowledge, public quests, living guilds, living cities, our campaign system. Everything from the ground up in this game has been designed sort of inwardly looking. We're not sort of developing our game with an eye to what anyone else is doing. All respect to noble competitors, we don't care what they're doing.
Okay.
We want our game to be fun for our players in the right way.
Okay, great. And about the OVR, how difficult is it to balance things? There's two factions, of course, but I can imagine it's quite difficult to balance all the classes all towards the end.
Adam Gershwitz used to have hair.
Adam Gershwitz, yes, our careers lead, was beautiful, flowing locks, and he was 9 feet tall. One of the benefits that we have as sort of a seasoned MMO developer is that we understand those types of challenges very, very clearly. With Dark Age of Camelot, we had a massive number of classes and careers in that game. And so we understand the undertaking And as a result, it's one of the things that we've thought about from day one. So one of the things that you try and do is you develop a system that is sort of organically geared towards self-balancing. And you don't commit to foolish ideas. It's okay for there to be sort of a paper, rock, scissors interaction in the game. It's okay if I'm wearing cloth and I have a little stick and I'm tinkling magic at you, and you show up behind me and you have a sword and you hit me in the head. It's okay for me to die. And if I go on the internet and go, every time I get hit in the head with a sword, I die. Yeah. The answer is don't get hit in the head with a sword. So you commit to honest sort of responses to some of the challenges. But then you build parity into the game. You make sure that there aren't options available on one side that aren't available on the other side. And then you use that sort of systemic parity. And you build off of that. And that's where you go into distinction, unique careers, unique functions, things like that. And just layer on the fun on top of intelligent sort of under-the-hood design.
Okay, great.
And an army of designers that spend all of their time balancing the game is helpful as well.
But it must be lots of work.
It is. It's one of the
crazy.
One of the things that's been great about being part of EA instead of having to do this in the vacuum of independence is when you are an independent developer. First of all, it's impossible to get anybody to notice you. The idea that when we launched Camelot, we could have gotten people to come and talk to us instead of having to chase them down in the street and go, talk to me. So we have the benefit of additional time, additional financing, additional resources, the wisdom of different studios that we can go to for assistance. And they give us armies of designers. Literally, we lock them in a hole. Make the game balanced.
Throw them raw meat, that's okay.
So it's a really great thing that EA took over Mythic.
Absolutely.
Only brought benefits. Okay. And you talked about public quests. Is it possible for me, like I'm Chaos, is it possible for me to influence Order public quests? Like the Order is doing a public quest and I'm showing up and I'm going to bash the Order people? Or?
If you're flag for RVR and they're flag for RVR, then yeah. But it's not going to interfere with the public quest. It's
except that you're killing them, and then they can't take part in the public quest, which is a sort of
well.
But it's not. You can in those areas you cannot automatically kill them.
No, it's one of the sort of decisions that you have to make the game coherent and playable. Is that you occasionally have to take that the super hardcore players and tell them. No, you can't just wander around arbitrarily killing people at any point just because. And we don't allow you to heal aggressive monsters that are attacking your enemies, things like that. The game's supposed to be fun. It's not a reality simulator. It's a fun generating machine.
I heard lots about guilds yesterday. That they come together in cities and socialize. How are you going to address things like guild storage? Or is it possible in the game?
Absolutely.
Share storage with something? Or?
The process we call living guilds. So over time, those types of utilities are going to be available sort of from the ground up. But more and more sort of impressive, significant, and nuanced facilities will become available to you as that guild progresses. So things like guild storage are just a baseline expected function at this point. We wanted to make sure that our guild system did a couple of things. First of all, that it satisfied all of the sort of baseline expectations that players have now for a guild system. It's very easy if all you do is give them sort of a chat channel and a way to build a roster. That can turn into a full-time job for the person that decides to run a guild. They have to run a website outside. They have to call people on the phone, get on Skype, do 10 things to get them into the game. We don't want there to be barriers like that. So we build in a scheduling system into the game. We build a calendar in so that players can understand what's going on. We automatically update news, things that are happening with your guild. So if you're familiar with stuff like RSS on the web, we just basically built that into the guilds. So when you log in as a player, there's a little tab in the guild window that goes, here's everything that happened in the guild since the last time you were here. 5 new people have joined, we leveled up, we achieved this, the vault's now this big, we got a cool sword, we're going out on Friday, sign up on the thing.
Okay.
And it's recognising as well that guilds are part of the hobby, so bring it inside the game, embrace it, make it cool, make it easy, make it fun, make it more compelling.
Okay, great. And those RSS feeds, are they also available offline or outside of the game?
Say that one more time.
Yeah, the feeds, like the news, the calendars and stuff. Yeah. It's also you can check it out outside of the game.
If you're familiar with what we did with Camelot, with the Camelot Herald, we made an effort to try and get a lot of that information out to players externally, so that when you're at work, you can kind of keep it in the window behind the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
All right, so everything's still fun.
Yeah.
But information like keeps that your guild has taken control of, you'll be able to keep track of that type of stuff and that sort of.
Okay, great. And can guilds also place their own banners, or maybe create in Photoshop their own banners and put them in game? Or?
from the standpoint of avoiding a couple of things, one, we don't want things that are inappropriate just sort of across the board, and we don't want things that are inappropriate to the IP. Players can have banners. Banners are unique to your guild. No one else has a banner like your banner. Players can sort of design the color scheme. They'll be able to choose emblems to put on there. Shape, size of the banner, things like that.
And they can also wear them on robes or something?
You'll have sort of heraldry that goes in different places. So the banner is actually a specific thing in the game that serves a purpose. When you actually plant a banner on the battlefield, it has sort of tactical benefits, things that your guild has earned. They're actually called guild tactics that go up on the banner, and as a result, some sort of benefit is achieved by your guild because we planted it here in the battlefield. We rally around this point. We are stronger here around the banner.
Great.
Which is drawn obviously from the tabletop game.
Of course.
Shamelessly
stolen.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with IP. Yeah. How important are items going to be? I mean, in World of Warcraft, loot is quite important, I think, for example. But other games like Pirates of the Burning Sea, all the items are the same stats. And how important is it going to be? Are people just craving for a certain loot from a typical boss? Or?
A couple of things. It's impossible to disconnect sort of the meta game of acquisition from these types of games. But what you try and do is develop a system where the loot is helpful, it's aspirational, it's something you do want, but it's not something you absolutely fundamentally have to have.
And it looks cool.
And it looks good. There will always be players who view those types of systems as absolute fundamental things to obsess over. You don't design with those people in mind. There will also be people that just don't care, and they complain anytime they have to go out and get a new sword. You don't design with those people in mind. You take the 99% of people in the middle, and you rub them. You go, look how much fun this is. Don't you want a prettier sword? Don't you want a bigger hat? Things like that. So the loot is important. It's not critical. One of the benefits that we have, because our game is, again, cooperational, it's a team sort of thing. You don't feel that sense of isolation. You don't feel that sense that you personally have to run out and get the biggest hat. That's not to say that we won't build a huge statue of you if you have the biggest hat. But it's not the be all and end all. It is a cooperation, team-based experience. Your race, your faction is accomplishing things as a group. And so there's that sensibility that your contributions to a greater effort don't sort of revolve around shoes and swords and helmets and so forth.
That's more based on player skill, how the player plays it, instead of just having the big items.
And who your allies are and how committed they are and that sort of thing.
Strategy, socialization, cooperation, competition.
Okay, cool. Speaking of socialization, are you also planning things like big events for players or to meet up around the world or outside of the game?
Especially in places like capital cities.
I think you mean leagues, right?
Yeah, well, I think both. I think events in both in-game and out-game.
Oh, yeah. Out of the game, we've been doing that with Camelot for years and years and years. We do the round tables in Las Vegas, and we come out to Europe and visit. From the very beginning of development with Warhammer, we've really tried to get out with the fans and spend as much time with them as we possibly can. And that again harkens back to sort of our time as an independent developer. Yeah. We needed them desperately, so we would hug each of them and come over and play the game.
Yeah.
But they're also a really good litmus test to make sure that what you're building is fun, that it satisfies the players. We love going to things like Games Day, putting the game out in front of the hardest of the hardcore Warhammer people and going, what do you think? And if they don't cut your head off, it's pretty good. Okay. And those guys have been amazingly energetic and positive. They wait in line for hours to get 10 minutes in front of the game. And so we're very confident there. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing fan meets and stuff like that.
Okay, great. One last thing, you have something special to say to the Dutch fans for buy it or I don't know what?
If you're not Dutch, you're not much.
Okay.
Play Warhammer. We love you guys.
Okay, well thanks a lot.